Portugal. There's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show.
Good morning. How are you? It's Mrs. M in the hot seat today. I hope you're well. Carl's on an airport transfer trip at the moment, and so I said, "Hey, let's have a go. Let's jump in and see how everything's going." So I can see we've got people joining us in the chat room today, and I'm going to run through the long list of things that Carl has given me to share with you. So what I want to know right now is, how are you doing? How are you feeling? How's your Portugal journey going? And what are you thankful for today? So I'm going to say hello to Sarah Yerman. How are you doing? Bom dia. And T-Duck is joining us too. Bom dia ALEGRIA Gumpers. I love that. And Feliz Sexta-feira. Oh, good grief. This is where I'm going to pronounce everything terribly. Excelente fim de semana. Oh my God. I can't do anything right now. I didn't think I was going to stumble at the first block. I say that all the time. When I go shopping, have a lovely weekend. And then I read it out on the screen and I can't say it. Bon dia, Louisa. Thank you so much. Anyway, here's what Carl has got for us today. So he's written it out as if he's really, really bigging it up. But he's saying, we start the show with the Bom Dia Daily, 20 minutes of news, weather, language, culture, and well-being in Portugal. By the way, this is something I've got to fact find myself. So I don't think I'm going to do it quite with the same expertise that Carl does it, but I'll give it my best shot. And I'm going to be introducing today's GMP's monthly Business World update, hosted today by Mrs. M. I don't know where this update is, but we'll find out. Coach Turner is joining us from the UK with his take on the resources you need for the rest of your life in Portugal, which is quite an interesting thing to think about. I mean, I don't know if you are already living here or whether you're planning on coming over here. But often most people are just thinking, okay, well, where do I live and what do I need to do instantly? But then the rest of your life, it takes some time to work out. So I'll be really interested to get Coach's view on that, in particular from his perspective from fitness and vitality. And then we'll plug his God Squad. I mean, he's been doing that for years. Bless him. I mean, he's an absolute treasure to the GMP community. We've also got Astrid from Expats Portugal joining us with a back to basic look at the services that they provide and how they make Expats Portugal a one-stop shop for anyone within the Portugal experience. So let's also introduce the idea that it's the weekend. And I always think that Friday is all about feeling good. Let's have some fun. So in fact, if you've got any funny stories that have happened recently in Portugal, any language cock-ups, let me know, because I'll be sure to need the content. I can see there's more people joining us today. So we've got Owen saying, hi, good morning. Hello, how are you, my love? It's been a while. We have got Ocean Dweller. Oh, my goodness, how are you? Good morning, Louisa. I'm thankful for this beautiful day and your wonderful show. Well, that's really kind. How's your group going? Because I know that you set up a group to help people come to terms with some of the political unrest and what that might mean. I wonder how that's going. I'd love to hear. T-Duck is saying, happy Friday and a great weekend to everybody. Simply live, or is that simply live? I don't know. I'm thinking simply live. Bon dia, Carl looks so much lovelier this morning. That's so kind. Thank you very much. And also happy Easter. Of course, it's Easter weekend this weekend. What are you up to this week, this Easter? What plans have you got? Mrs. M, how are you? Well, I'm doing well. I've had a lovely friend visit from the States, and Carl is just dropping my good friend off to Lisboa. So I'm surprised my voice isn't a little bit croaky because I've been chatting. You know what it's like when you catch up with someone you haven't seen. I was going to say you haven't seen for a long time. I've actually never ever met them in real life before. So this was really nice, and we were sort of gassing quite a bit. Anyway, this is meant to be the portion to do with the news, weather, language, culture, and well-being. So I'm going to start by having a look at the Portugal news and just see what's on the radar. So let me just bring that onto the screen. 1 second. Here we go. So we should have the Portugal news on the screen almost. Here it comes. There we go. That isn't what I was expecting it to look like. There we go. I think that's a bit better. Yeah, there we go. So, the first thing I notice is, oh no, a wet Easter holiday for Portugal. That doesn't sound good. I hope your weather plans are kind of like waterproof, like you've got some ways of coping. So it says the Easter weekend will be marked by unstable weather in mainland Portugal with rain, while in the Azores archipelago, good weather is expected, and in Madeira, the weather will be relatively stable. Okay. So in its weather forecast for the Easter period, the Portuguese Institute of the Sea and Atmosphere, that sounds quite posh, says that the precipitation, again, another posh word, could say rainfall, is expected to occur across the mainland with greater frequency and intensity in the north and centre, and with the highest accumulated values in the Minho and Douro littoral regions. Do you know what? Greater frequency and intensity, I find that hard to believe, because yesterday it absolutely peed it down in SMDP in San Martino. It was like a monsoon in Bali. You know, I lived in Indonesia for a while, in case you didn't know. And it was absolutely tipped down like every day. Yesterday, it was like that. The funny thing about Portugal is how, you know, the sky can be bright blue 1 minute and then grey the next. Wow. I mean, it's been pretty unstable. The forecast of unstable weather in mainland Portugal should continue at least until Monday. As a result of the successive passage of frontal systems associated with the vast depression region centered northwest of the Iberian Peninsula. According to the weather forecast, the Good Friday holiday should be the day with the most intense and widespread rainfall in mainland Portugal due to the passage of a cold front. I was going to say cloud front there, cold front, but with the expectation that the rain will continue over the remaining days, with showers which will be less frequent and intense in the south region. In the highlands of the north and centre, precipitation will be in the form of snow. Oh my goodness, snow in April. What's that about? You have to please do let me know what it's like where you are. Oh my goodness. Regarding the temperature in mainland Portugal, the Institute reports that after a significant drop on Tuesday, some fluctuations are expected over the next few days, with a gradual rise between Wednesday and Thursday and a further drop on Saturday. Okay, so doesn't sound so good. So if you're in the Azores, the Easter weekend will feature a period of relatively good weather, with the sky showing periods of cloudiness, but alternating with clear spells. Now, that sounds a bit more like it. In the early hours of Thursday morning, we've gone through Thursday, so let's see Madeira. Relatively stable weather expected, sometimes with the occurrence of light precipitation. Okay, so if you're in the islands, have a light Mac with you, maybe an umbrella. But anywhere else, you're going to need to pack for wet and windy weather, I think. Sounds a little bit disastrous. So let's just go back and see if there are any other interesting stories. Optional extra public holiday granted. Let's see. Let me just see if anyone's got some other stories they want to share. A little rain forecast for Lisbon this morning, but none over the weekend. That's what T-Duck's saying. Solar Life is saying, Bom Dia ALEGRIA. Hi, there sure is a lot of rain. Could ruin my Easter bunny hunt. Are you getting dressed up for that, Pete? That's what I want to know. Are you going to be in a little hoppity hop kind of little fluffy tail kind of thing? That'd be, I mean, send photos if you do. But I hope your Easter bunny hunt goes well. Are you actually hunting bunnies or chocolate? Ian, don't forget to join me, Ian. I'm going to need you very soon. Bom dia todos e feliz sexta. Running a little people back home this morning. We might be sleeping early this evening. Have a great weekend, everybody. So you're running the little people back home. I hope that's after your appearance. Pete is saying, have you got some Portuguese male visitors? T-Duck saying, smash that like button, please do. I don't want to break Carl's show. That would be terrible. Pouring here right now is saying simply live. Is it live or live? And that's a bit unfair, Pete. We start moving into the new apartment on Monday. Well, Randy, I hope, T-Duck, I hope the weather changes. I hope you get exactly the right weather for you when you're moving, because that would be really, really awful. And Coach T, you are joining me shortly. Thank you so much. Right, let's have another look at other news. And we've also got, I can also check the Portugal resident as well. So let's have a look. Okay, which properties are most in demand in Portugal? Let's have a look at that. Let's see what that's saying in a moment. Because we were out for dinner a week ago today, and we were chatting with this really, really nice Portuguese man, and he was saying that it's impossible for Portuguese people, like young Portuguese families, to buy a home these days, and suggesting that I guess the popularity of living in Portugal has grown and grown and grown, and of course all the prices have gone up. It got me thinking, is that just a Portugal problem? I actually think it's probably worldwide, but nonetheless it still presents as a problem, when people get bought out of their areas. So I'm wondering if they're going to talk about that in this piece. But which properties are most in demand in Portugal? So it's saying data from Idealista shows that demand for apartments priced between 150,000 and 210,000 has more than doubled. I mean, I've noticed that. I mean, we're not actively looking to buy a house, but we do keep an eye on the prices around us, and they just seem to have skyrocketed. It's incredible. And then when I was thinking back to how much prices were in the UK, obviously it's not as high as in the UK, but it still sounded a little bit comparable, in terms of the utter lift. I mean, that might just be this area, but I don't know what it's like where you are. I mean, let me know. The demand for homes to buy in Portugal is on the rise, having reached one of the highest levels in the last 8 years at the end of 2024. In Portugal, the demand for apartments for sale between 90,000 and 360,000, which, by the way, can I say that's just a massive, massive gap. I mean, that includes most people buying. That has soared during this period. It reveals that interest in apartments and houses for sale increased in 2024, even reaching historic high in the summer when the IMT Jovem exemption came into effect. And although it fell a little on a quarterly basis, demand for buying a home ended the year at one of the highest levels recorded since 2018. So I guess it's really good if you've already bought, because your investment, I mean, it's an upward trend for you, but not so good if you've been waiting for the right time. This trend of moving towards buying a house in Portugal, whether for first residence, a holiday home, or a house to rent out as a business, increased in all 20 district capitals between the end of 2024 and the same period for the previous year, without exception. And there are even cities where values more than doubled. This was the case of Porto Alegre, Beja, and Ponta Delgada in the case of demand for apartments, and the case of Guarda in relation to housing. Now, I don't know any of those areas, so if you live there, let us know what's going on. In the Portuguese capital, there was a much greater annual increase demand for apartments, like 54% higher than for houses, which were 10% in their rise. And exactly the opposite was observed in Porto. Interest in houses increased by 32%, whilst interest in apartments grew just by 4%. So that's interesting, isn't it? I'm not surprised that the big old cities are really getting it. Families are paying more attention to houses for sale in Portugal in all price ranges, from the cheapest to the most expensive, costing more than 1 million euros. I can't imagine what I'd do with that much. Of course, the demand for more affordable homes is much greater compared to the pressure felt on luxury homes, and it is increasing in the face of supply shortages and low wages. What do you make of that? I mean, that's huge. I mean, that is such a rise. I wonder, I wonder if that changes, your thoughts on where you want to be. I guess if it's all going up relatively, according to where you are in the world, then, that may be, okay. Oh, simply live. My name is Mel. I remember meeting you. How are you? T-Duck is saying the weather next week looks great for Lisbon. And T-Duck is saying Mel means honey. Mel. It's kind of nasally, isn't it? Mel. Mel means honey. And that's really sweet. I love honey. The honey here is amazing, in fact. Young people in the UK have given up trying to buy a home. Yeah. Yeah, I get that, Ian. And you've got children, haven't you? And I'm guessing they've already got a home, but I wonder about your grandchildren, as they get older. T-Duck saying, it doesn't make sense for us to buy a property in Portugal. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I wonder how that translates to the rentals. I mean, I know that the house we've got, we secured our rent about 3.5 years ago. And so now it's going up a little bit in increments. But I know people with the same hi, Coach Turner. I'll bring you on in a second. I know that houses, the same as our house, just a few doors up. I've spoken to loads of people and they're paying not double, but not far off it. And it's quite shocking to us. I'm just going to read out this last few comments and I'll bring you on. Solar Life Pete is saying, buying an apartment here is risky as you don't know what hidden surprises you have with the tenants. There are still lots of houses abandoned in Porto. And I was going to say, I bet T-Duck's going to agree with that, and he has. It's nice to be able to move if the situation changes, which I guess is really important. I guess wherever it's good to have choice to be able to get in and out of the situation that you're in. That's one of the reasons we like renting. Feliz Sestro todos, tudo bem? That's from James, an old guy in Europe. How's your channel going, James? I hope it's going well. Mel saying, my son lives in Lisbon in his 30s with a FT, life contract. I don't know what that means. No way he can afford any home to buy in Lisbon. No, I can't imagine anyone can. And yeah, T-Duck is saying, I can't imagine tying up a bunch of cash in an apartment. Okay, well, let's take this off the screen because I want to bring on Coach T. How are you doing?
Morning. Good morning.
When was the last time I saw you? Was it at Carl's party? That was pretty good, wasn't it?
First party. Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
What's new with you?
Well, we're off on Monday on a train trip to northern Spain.
Lovely.
We're heading to St. Pancras, across to Paris for a night, and then 4.5 hours from Paris to the border.
Wow.
Which is just astonishing. It
That's
took us 3 days in the car.
Yeah, I know. That's incredible. I mean, we were considering taking a trip back to the UK and driving and, taking our time. But yeah, I mean, it does take quite a long time. And if you can do it by train, that sounds great. What are the details? Are you literally on the train the whole time? Or are you stopping en route? And
we're stopping in Paris for the night because we want to go and see the rebuilt Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never been there anyway, so it'd be good to visit. And a typical French dinner somewhere in Montparnasse.
Very nice.
Yeah. And then we head to San Sebastian, Bilbao, Santander, and then we head back. But the ones along the northern Spain coast are on a little narrow gauge railway, which will be a bit of fun.
Are you Iberian? Like, are you considering being like both Portuguese and Spanish in your?
Don't think so. The reason for it is it's actually our 25th wedding anniversary this June, and so we were looking at doing a flash train trip, and there's one that heads across northern Spain on these narrow gauge lines.
Mm-hmm.
But when I looked into it, it was about €1,000 a night. And
wow, that's a lot of money.
I can't. I really can't justify that. That's crazy stuff.
That's a lot of money.
And then I discovered that they tend to travel at night and do tours in places during the day. So you don't see the scenery from the train anyway because it's dark.
Yeah.
And I might have a problem getting into the bed because it's unlikely to be large enough for a.
Yeah, you're a tall fella,
6'3". So we abandoned that idea, and then I started to look at doing it sort of more normally, but staying in nice hotels. So that's what we're doing.
Very nice.
We're away. I think we're away for 15 nights. So
that's a lovely trip.
Yeah.
That's absolutely fantastic. And 25 years. What's the secret to that, by the way?
Lots of wine, I suspect. No, we just get on, and
Yeah.
we get on probably better now than when we first got together. So
Oh, that's beautiful.
different vibe, of course. You know,
Yeah, of course.
we're a lot older.
Yeah, and you've got like a massive family that's sort of
Yeah, yeah.
surrounding you, haven't you?
Well, we got 2 of them here this morning. They've been with us the last 3 nights.
And you got people over
which
for
is
Easter
lovely.
as well.
No. We're taking them back today, having lunch with my son and his partner, and then I think we're vaguely free for the weekend because we've got to pack and prepare and
Yeah, of
tidy the
course.
house up. Why is it you have to tidy the house up when you go away? It doesn't.
So you don't. I mean, you're going away for 10 days, right?
Well,
so
yeah,
that you
a little
don't
more, yeah.
come back to a
Do a
mouldy
mess.
bin.
Yeah.
Maggots coming out your bin.
No, I get the bin thing. But it's,
Whole
but
bunch
it's,
of stale food.
hoovering the house and washing the floors and things like that.
Do you know what? I just think it's because it's nice. You get back and you think,
Yeah,
oh,
it's clean.
lovely.
Changing the bed. I get that. I get that.
Yeah, totally. So your plans. I mean, I know you as somebody who one day wants to come to Portugal. Is that true?
Yeah. Well, I
and
think
where are you planning?
Well, I think it might be San Martino.
Really?
Yeah, because when we were there in when was it? March?
Yeah.
Was it March, February?
End of February, March.
End of February, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
When the party was on. We went to Setúbal, Santarém, San Martino, and then up to Coimbra.
Yeah.
And we enjoyed Setúbal. I think that's a super place to live.
Yeah, Setúbal's lovely.
But we just were so relaxed in San Martino, especially with the little apartment we had overlooking the beach, which is a bit special. But
It's very
really
special, isn't it?
quite good value.
Yeah.
We just felt very much at home, and
Yeah.
so we'll see. We're coming back in October. We've got, I think, 9 or 10 nights in San Martino in the same apartment. Then we're heading to Madeira for a few days and then back home. And then I'm aiming to get out for a month next year. So we're doing it gradually.
Yeah.
Because we've got lots of commitments here.
Yeah, of course.
9 grandkids. You can't run away from those. Leslie's mum's still alive, so we get to see her probably once every 2 or 3 weeks.
So are you thinking like a sort of part-time scenario?
Yeah, I think fitting within the 90 days probably is what we're going to do. I'd be there tomorrow. I'd be applying for my visa and but anyway. So I think we are likely to do something along those lines.
That sounds great. What psychological and physical things? Obviously, because you're a fitness expert, and I mean, you are hard at it, aren't you? Like, whenever I hear
not as much as I should be, but
I mean, what advice do you give to people who are doing a lot of moving around? Because I also think that affects the mind as well, and your sense of relaxation in your body. How do you keep it all going, especially when you're moving like from place to place and spending so many months here? And how do you how does your body?
Well, I found when we've been away, we do actually do a lot more walking than we do when we're at home.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
that we also do a lot more eating and drinking. Which from a health point of view is probably the downside, but that's what you do when you're on holiday.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be interesting to see if we're somewhere for a month, what difference that makes, because we'll want to be able to cook for ourselves. We won't be eating out every night.
Yeah.
We will have days off boozing.
Yeah.
Because you just can't do it. But it then starts to sit around your waist a bit. But we do walk a lot. We're doing 15,000, 20,000 steps a day when we're away.
Yeah.
Which and if we're in Portugal, it's always hilly.
Yes.
Wherever you are, there's no.
Apart from where we live, actually, it's very
along the bay is fine, but
but
as soon as you get in, go up into the old town,
that yeah, you do get
That's
a bit
a
of
nice hill.
it is, yeah, yeah, actually it is. Yeah, I mean, we've just like had a friend stay, hence why Carl's not here today. And you know, she's been like doing a stop off across Europe, so Amsterdam, Paris, and she was saying she's done, I think, 20,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
So we gave her a bit of a rest. But again, you know, when you come out, you know, like as hosts, we were going to cafes, restaurants, and she said,
Yes,
"Oh, I've eaten so much."
you
So that is
do.
one of the
You do.
problems.
You do. It was interesting. I think when we did our road trip last year,
Mhm.
we tended to stop for a couple of days at places. So you had a day to see places, and then you
Yeah.
move on. And which was great, and what we planned, and we saw lots of places. We stayed in some lovely places. But we got kind of bored with packing up all the time
Yeah.
after a while.
Yes.
And so that's why we decided when we were out earlier in the year to stay for longer in different places.
Yeah.
And that worked really well. But I think we now want to stay for much longer in one place and
Yes.
really begin to live almost, if that makes sense. And settle in somewhere, because we know it's not something we've ever done. And Leslie was working until 3 or 4 years ago,
Yeah.
so she could only go away for a week at a time. So we've never been away for longer than a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Really.
I want to ask you, you said you'd like to know what it is to like live somewhere. Like, how do you know that you're living? Like, what are the like how would you describe like what it is to live, rather than, because like I've stayed somewhere for about 2 weeks, and in some places I felt like I've really lived, and in others I've just felt like I was a visitor. What's the definition of that for you?
I think it's a feeling. I don't know as you could pin it down. I guess if you feel at home.
Yeah.
And you know, even though we were only in San Martino for what, 4 or 5 days, we felt very relaxed. And I think relaxation perhaps is it. I don't know. No particular insight to that, but we want to try it. So
Yeah. Oh, that's
and until you try it, you will never know, will you?
yeah, exactly. I do agree. I think San Martino is a lovely place to feel at home in. Like when we arrived like 7 years ago, in our camper van, we were like, oh my God, we're home. And then like our journey took us on lots of little detours, and we didn't come back for another like 3.5 years. We definitely got at home. Looks like you've got some sunshine there in England.
Well, we have. Yeah, it's sort of mixed cloud and sun. We've had some amazing weather the last 3-4 weeks. It's been, in fact, it's very dry. I have to water the garden at the moment, which is a bit bizarre. You don't?
No, our garden's being watered as we speak. I can just hear that the rain's like coming, just like that. The sun came through on your face. That's when the rain started to pee down in our garden. So one of the things that I notice when I go away is I've got a bit of a cranky back. You know, like my back gets a bit fed up being in new beds and with pillows, and especially if you're. I mean, for me, like I used to be like carrying children on my hip or something, or like holding their hand. Yeah, of course, you do that with your grandkids, don't you? And also like trailing luggage around. Like, what's the best way to like look after your back? Because I'm guessing that's something that goes for most people.
Good question. I mean,
And the neck as well.
lugging weights around.
Yeah. Are there some stretches?
There's a few rules. Firstly, lift with your legs, not your back.
Okay.
That's always a good rule to follow. So bend your knees.
Bend the knees.
Bend the knees. So don't fold from your hips. That's always good advice. Whatever you're lifting up, balance it out. So if you're carrying something on one side, carry it on the other as well. Yeah. Because otherwise you tend to get that way. But stretches, Pilates is very good because it helps the core. All of those sort of yoga, any flexibility thing will help. I guess like things like Pilates and yoga, you can actually do at home now, can't you? Especially with all these little apps. Lots on YouTube. Yeah. I came down the other day, and and Leslie was in our little study gym area, and she had YouTube on doing yoga. She was in some very strange positions.
Oh, how exciting! That might be part of the secret to a
livened up my
25-year
morning.
marriage. That's fantastic.
So but keep moving, I think, is a lot about it. When you're traveling, you're sitting down a lot, aren't you? And sitting down is always bad news, really.
Yeah. Do you think you'll carry on your work as coach when you actually come and live in Portugal? Do you think you'll
I'd like to do so. If we're in São Martinho, there's a fantastic track now at Caldas.
Yeah.
That I had to go look at because that's what I do. I'm very sad.
No, that's just sad.
They relayed it last year, according to Colin.
Yeah.
Rugby Colin informed me that they had a really nice track. So when I originally went there, which was some years ago, we came out and stayed in Fosterello with Leslie's mum, taking her away.
How lovely.
And it was good. We'd been to Porto and we came down to Fosterello. And I went to look at the track, and it really was very, very sad. It was all footholes and lumps and things. So I thought, oh, well, no good. But is
that near the park? The little park on the corner of the roundabout?
It's where the rugby ground is. Yeah, sort of. Yeah, it's just a little park there. That's right. There's several roundabouts. There seems to be lots of roundabouts in Caldas.
I was meaning Foz. I think I know where the track is. Is that near the I don't know if Colin's listening today, but I know we went to have a massive rounders match a couple of years ago at was it the rugby?
Yeah, that's where it is. That's where it is. Just off the main north-south highway.
Yeah, I mean, I liked that place, but it was mainly because it had a nice bar, a really friendly
bar. Yes, it has a bar overlooking the rugby ground. Yeah, well, that has added advantages. Probably not so good when you're training, but
no.
I'd love to continue to coach. Even if it's just to keep my hand in, but I enjoy doing it because you're giving of something, aren't you?
Absolutely.
When I can understand what teachers get out of teaching.
Yeah,
because it absolutely is what you see improvement in both the athletes' physical abilities, but also they change as people over time. They grow up, I guess, a lot of them. Mind you, the girls I'm coaching at the moment are all, I think the youngest is 19, the others are 24, 25, and they're working, so they're very different prospects. To younger kids, sort of young teenagers, which is what I've done mostly. Yeah. But you get something totally different back from people that are basically grown up and finding their way in life. It's a very different relationship you have with them.
I imagine that's a really good thing for them to do, actually, as they're really heading into their life, like sort of like late teens and into the early 20s. It's such a formative time. I mean, I imagine that level of fitness that they've got and that routine really stands them in good stead, helps them with their mental health.
I think that's right. It gives them an outlet, and they do seem to enjoy it. The sad thing is, by 16 or 17, most kids, certainly girls, have given up doing anything active. So these are they're slightly different. They're a bit geeky in that way, I think. but it clearly gives them something, and we really enjoy. We all enjoy it. So both me as a coach and them as athletes.
Is being sporty or athletic now the new geeky? I love that word, because I always think geeky people is like people that follow their sort of love of computers or love of technology, or I never really thought of applying it to like serious sports. I mean, I know people that rock climb, and I guess they're a little bit sort of like geeky in their own, because they really, I guess, geek out together. I see cyclists that seem to be, it's a thing, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a thing. It's a thing. It's geeky. Perhaps it's unfair, but
Was that the word you used?
it was the word I used.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess it's because they focus on one thing rather
Yeah.
than. I mean, they have lots of other interests as well.
Yeah.
They do occasionally turn up hungover, so they have a good social life too.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I think they're rounded individuals, which
Yeah.
is part of them growing up.
So
Working. One of them's even just talking about housing. One of them's just
really,
bought a house,
seriously,
a bungalow, on the outskirts of London, and I can't, I suspect Daddy's been involved in funding a fair bit of it.
yeah.
But
Oh, good for her.
credit to her. She's got a
Yeah.
good job, so
Oh, that's
she
good.
needs it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. I mean,
I'll tell you, as I put on the chat earlier, kids here of certainly in their 20s, they've given up on buying anywhere in the southeast. If further north, it's not so bad because the prices are much lower. But if you look at the stats, the cost of property per when it's compared with salaries has like gone up 5, maybe even 10-fold in the past 30 or 40 years, and so people just can't afford to buy.
yeah.
And there's been a lot of people buying to let, but corporates buying to let, because they see that as a way of creating income. And it's taken a lot of property off the market, and there just haven't been enough houses built. So I think it's a general problem throughout Western Europe.
Yeah.
I suspect.
Yeah. All the world.
All the world. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that will definitely have that will make a difference in terms of how we do families and how we live our lives, because I'm guessing also a lot of young people are thinking of like renting with their friends, because they can't see any other way of affording rent either.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
It's always been difficult, hasn't it?
It's never been easy.
If you were growing up, it was never easy. I remember this before your time, I guess.
Only just.
Because you're young. I remember interest rates hitting 15% at one point, mortgage rates, and I remember looking at the bits of paper and thinking, how the hell am I going to afford this? But we got through it somehow and got out the other end.
Yeah.
A long while ago. So that's probably 35 years ago. I'm guessing something like that. But so it's always been difficult. But we managed it. And we gave up stuff.
Of course.
And
I mean, that's
kids
something
aren't willing to give up.
I mean, that's something that came up in the conversation that Carl and I had with this young, I say young, he was probably a little bit younger than me, but this Portuguese man. And so when we were sort of examining, is it impossible? And he said, well, of the ones that are able to buy a house, they're people who don't go to Mauritius every year or, like go on their posh holidays. They are people that don't go to the cocktail bars, and don't go out. And there are also people who, aren't worried about what clothes they're wearing or whether they've got the newest car. I mean, that's one of the reasons that Carl and I moved over here. We wanted to have a bit more space to be ourselves and to, not have so much pressure on us so we can spend more time with our children. That was definitely one of our concerns, like 7 years ago in the UK.
Well, I mean, one of the another statistic I saw the other day, something like 95% of all new cars in the UK are bought on tick. I'll call it
Seriously.
tick. So they're either leased or they're bought on the never basically.
Yeah.
And those are rolled over every 3 years, and so these people have always got relatively new cars, which is great for the car industry.
Yeah.
But you think that's another huge expense, and this may be anywhere between £250-300 a month. That's a lot.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it is.
you should be able to rent houses for that.
Yeah, exactly.
not anymore, but anyway.
Can I want to just draw the conversation back to yours and Leslie's plans to come over here one day.
Yeah.
How long do you think it will be before you're living out here permanently, do you think?
Permanent. Well, permanently is a big word, isn't it? I don't think we'll ever manage that, but I do think we'll manage 4 or 5 months a year.
Yeah.
That's where I think, given the rules, is where the sensible thing would lie. Because if we applied for a DE7 visa, because we'd be back and forth a bit, we'd have to spend 8 months a year in Portugal.
Yeah.
And we just can't do that at the moment.
Yeah.
There may come a time when the kids, the grandchildren are growing up. But in fact, the oldest one is 18 in about 2 weeks' time.
Oh, wow.
So the chances are there'll be a next generation as well at some stage, which is that's seriously scary.
And exciting. That's lovely.
Yeah, and exciting, of course. I just love seeing kids growing up and developing into people. Real, grown-up people. It's just wonderful seeing them learn new skills. And, these two we've got here at the moment are they're just a joy to be with. Actually, they're seriously bright. Leave us standing. But I think in terms of timing, we're going to try a month or so next year sometime, and then possibly 2 months the following year. So we'll do it gradually, but who knows? Stuff changes too quickly.
Yeah.
As long as we're healthy, I think we can do it gradually. But
and then with the health, I mean, what things do you think you need in place before you can feel sort of like healthy or well enough, or like what concerns do you have? Like, are you thinking of private healthcare or?
Yeah, I mean, I know, thanks to the GMP show, I know a fair bit about healthcare in Portugal. So, it's actually better now than the NHS, which is a bit tragic because the NHS was probably the best in the world a few years back. But it's much more difficult to get appointments and things now if you have issues, particularly chronic stuff. When you really need help is generally pretty good, but the selective stuff, if my knees needed doing, I'd consider going privately here. You might not need to do that in Portugal. I don't know, but that's like so. It's those sorts of issues, I guess, are the ones that might drive us a little. Anyway, we will see.
Yeah, we will.
And then as you begin to need more care, that's an interesting one. Would we be better here? Would we be better in Portugal? I don't know.
I think that's something that Carl's looking to explore, and to have conversations with people about, to really get clear as to what we need to think about as we get older.
Yeah, well, we've been
ongoing conversation, isn't it?
I know it's an ongoing conversation. I've been through it with my parents, passed away now, but so you learn a lot about what's needed at that point in time. It's and staying healthy. This is back to growing old disgracefully. Staying healthy and capable for as long as possible. Then you just want to keel over. You don't want to be going into a home, really.
No, you just want to. I'm going to have to wrap this up, Ian. Thank you so much for joining us today.
It's been lovely to talk to you, Louise.
Oh, yeah.
Because we didn't really talk when we were out last, but we'll get a chance next time.
Definitely. Well, I mean, Carl's got his big party on tomorrow night, actually. Got another one like the first one.
Yeah.
So you have to come and join us soon. But thanks so much.
There'll be a chance. I think Leslie's away 2 or 3 odd weeks during the summer, early autumn. So I might just jump on a plane.
That sounds fantastic. Well, have a fantastic trip over to Spain. Congratulations on 25 years. That's a huge achievement. But of course, it's nothing, I guess, if you're so happy and in love with each other.
I can't believe it's that long. It's just
it's gone by.
Time flies as you get older.
Oh, well, loads of love to you and Leslie, and we'll catch up with you real soon. Thank you so much for coming in today. Mwah.
See you soon. Ciao.
Ciao. So I can see we've got loads and loads of comments. I'm so sorry that I'm not as good as Carl at like going through them all. I will come to you at the end, but I can see we've got Astrid waiting behind the scenes, and she's going to come and tell us all about what's going on with Expats Portugal right now. So let's bring her on. Hey, Astrid, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you? I'm good. Just out of bed though, so a little bit sleepy. It's the school holiday, so I'm trying to make the most of being able to sleep in a bit. So
yeah, and then
set my alarm to get up.
What have you been doing with the girls this week on their school holidays? Have there been lots of fun activities?
Not really. They're a bit older, so they tend to do things with their own friends, which is great. But I still have to be the taxi driver taking them around. But they're 15 and 16 years old, so it's not like I need to take them to the park or anything like that to play and burn off energy. And it's more just being taxi mum. So yeah. But,
sorry, I was like ours are obviously a little bit smaller. I was thinking we're still at that park stage, going out for park and ice cream.
Yes.
So, how's it all going with?
Yeah, I don't know. It gets a bit easier, but you become
So, how's it going?
Become a slave to your children.
Yes, we are definitely. I think there's a bit of a delay, so I'm going to slow down and wait a little bit more. But I was just about to ask, how's it going over at Expats Portugal right now? Because you just did your weekend in Coimbra, and Carl came back and said, "Oh my God, that was so much fun." So, like, what's your news?
We had a fantastic weekend in Coimbra, and we had a meet-up. It was actually over a weekend, but not everyone had to stay the weekend. Some people just stayed for the Saturday. Some people stayed overnight and joined us on the Sunday. And we had a bus tour. We hired a bus. And Philomena, who your group as well, she was our tour guide for Coimbra because that's her home city, and we travelled around. She showed us some sights, and we went for some strolls through the old part of the town. We went to the university where we had another guide there, proper guide from the official guide from the university, who was excellent. She took us around, and we went to see the library where, it's from absolutely beautiful. Apparently, it's one of the most beautiful libraries around, or that you can see, but very, very, very old. It was fascinating. And then we just went and had some social drinks. Then we had dinner. Then a lot of people got up the following morning and had breakfast together, and then we had lunch. And it was just a nice weekend of networking and getting to know other people from all different walks of life. It was great. So.
And is this something that you're committed to doing now? Is it every 2 months that you're doing?
Every 2 months, yeah. So it's the second Saturday of every second month. A lot of people said, "Oh, can't you do this monthly? Can't you do this monthly?" Which we may consider, but it's a lot of work, and it's not like it's we're not doing it to generate any money. We're doing it just to give back to our members. So it's about trying to work out how can we afford to do these events on a monthly basis. We would love to. So it is something that we have listened to, and if we can explore a way to make it work, then we might see in the new year if we can do it on a monthly basis.
Wow. So where else are you heading to later on this year?
Okay, so on the 14th of June, we are down to Tavira in the Algarve, where we've hired a boat which is going to take us on a cruise through the area and to spot the wildlife. So apparently you can see flamingos and a lot of the potentially dolphins and
Wow.
how lucky you get, and then the fauna and flora that is in the area is meant to be beautiful. We're stopping off at one of the islands for lunch, and if people want to, they can go for a swim. Apparently there's beautiful beaches on the island, and then we head back to Tavira, where we'll have social drinks again and a dinner together night if you want to, at the hotel or a hotel of your choice. You don't need to stay where we're staying. You might choose to do a Airbnb instead, or find something a bit more affordable, or sorry, my cat, or something it's a bit more elaborate. So yes, there's a lot of flexibility to the weekend as well, and you can pick and choose. You don't have to come to all of them. So if you just want to come to the dinner, you can do that. If you don't like being on the water, then you don't need to do that. So we break it up so that you can pick and choose the elements that you want.
Yeah, fabulous.
Yeah.
And what's happening with Expats Portugal? Like, are there any other new things going on that you'd like to share with us?
There is lots of new things. It's the good thing about having such a small business is that if you think of an idea and you think it's good, you can give it a go. And if it works, it's great. If it doesn't, then you can just take it away. But we had our first premium members lounge last night with Carl. I don't know whether he told you about that.
He said it was really good.
It was really fun. We switched the camera. So rather than the camera being on Carl or any of the experts that we usually have come along, we switched it around and said, okay, the audience is the stars tonight, and we want to know about you. We want to know about your journey. Where are you now? Are you still not in Portugal, or have you arrived? Where are you living? What do you like about it? Tell us, share your information. So we really sort of switched the camera around and spotlighted our members instead, and it was good. There were so many smiles and laughter, and people coming on and saying, "I want to be where you are," and
oh, wow.
it was really nice. So hopefully we can grow it into something really special, and it will happen every 2 weeks on our platform, our website, and it is exclusively for our premium members, which I think Carl has got a special deal on that if they want to join as a premium member for Expats Portugal and come and get involved. So it was good. It was a lot of fun.
And what trends are you noticing, like with people that are moving over at the moment? Are you noticing like certain age groups or certain areas where people are moving to? What kind of themes are coming up?
Look, Central Portugal's always been a very favourable place for our members. We're still seeing a lot of people come from America. Canada is growing, and Australia is growing too. So those two countries seem to be getting more and more interest. I'm sure there's lots of other countries as well, but because we kind of specialise in English speaking, it's sort of we don't know about the others. But I know that, like, Gilda, for example, from EI just opened up an office in Canada, so it must be something. Yeah. So she was over there opening up an office. Yeah, must be. So, so any trends? Look, we still, most of our members that are coming along are here probably in their older years to enjoy, or so there are some members that are coming through and that are hoping to get a job here, but don't sort of realise that if they don't speak the language, they might have some problems securing work. So we sort of advise, are you able to bring your work with you? Because ideal situation. So it's all mixed. I think, especially over the last couple of months, the demand has really changed, and it seems to be a real mix of people coming through. So probably because of the political environment happening in the States at the moment. So, yeah.
Yeah, I imagine politics is playing a huge hand in all of this movement. So I guess the only trend is that there's lots more people moving, like the overall trend.
Well, a lot of the times we capture people in the very early stages of their plans. So they come to us. They've got this idea that they want to move to Portugal. Whether they actually do it, we don't know. We can only help them to, whilst they stay in contact with us or be part of our community. If they choose not to, we don't know what happens to them. But there's a lot of interest. But how many of those people are actually coming through? We don't know that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of interest. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. Have you got any last thoughts or things that you want to share with us, Astrid?
Just keep coming back to the website. We've got new things going on all of the time. We have a girl, a lady, I should say. Her name is Sarah. She's going through a lot of our old members who may not have visited us for quite some time. She's inviting them back to take a look, and people are coming back. Oh, I didn't know you did that now, and I didn't know you did that now, and because we've evolved. As I said before, if we come up with a new idea and we think it's something that's good to go, then we'll give it a go. So we just encourage people to keep coming back because there's something always new. And I think Sarah's doing a great job with just touching base and saying, now we do a lot of things for people who have already arrived, who are living in Portugal with the meetups, and we're actually talking about another the development, which is probably a bit too early to talk about, but just as a rough idea is that the ability for people to go and recommend businesses that they've dealt with here in Portugal, because that's a big thing as well. Once you arrive, it's like, well, okay, I need a plumber.
Who can you trust?
Who do I trust? So we thought this would be a great way to be able to give back again to the community and say, well, come to our directory. We've got these people that have been endorsed by our members, and they offer good service. So come back and maybe that's the way, or the person that you choose for the job. So hopefully,
I imagine that would be very popular, very, very popular, because it is so difficult to know what's what when you first arrive. I mean, I remember when we first arrived, we were looking at Pure Portugal page on Facebook, and that seemed to be the only thing we could find. And then in the space of like the last 7.5 years, like there's so many people like sharing information, and so now the problem isn't that there's not enough, there's too much. And so how do you discern what's right? So I think those recommendations I think that sounds very good. Really good.
So it's good.
Oh, well, thanks for joining us today, Astrid. I really, really appreciate it. So it's nice to meet you properly as well, even though, again, it's not in flesh. But
well, I said that to Carl on the weekend. I said, when am I going to when we're going to meet? We haven't met in person. It's been, 5 years? So
yeah, I know. I think we are going to be at Tavira. We're going to come down.
Right.
We will be there. So I'll definitely see you. I'm looking forward to it. Well, thanks for coming on today. Have a lovely weekend with the girls.
Thank you.
Have a lovely Easter. And I'm just going to finish up. We've got so many comments now, and I'm afraid to even leave this show without saying goodbye to everyone. So thanks for joining today.
And thank you.
All right, lots of love. Bye. Wow. So I haven't broken Carl's show yet, and hopefully I'm going to carry on with this momentum. So bear with me if you've had things to share. I can see so many different messages coming in. So Pete shared earlier, train travel is so much better than it used to be. We did half of Japan in 3 hours. Whoa! Up to Porto last weekend on the swaying train. Can't wait to try the Chinese ones. But UK trains are so expensive and pants. We've also got one bag and a passport saying, Bon dia, Gumpers. Hello to you. James is saying, thanks to Mel at Simply Live or Simply Live, I was able to make an appointment with Ama to change my address on my residence card. It's in Cascais at the end of July. That's part 1 of 2. I think this is the next bit. there's got to be an easier way of getting from Espino to Cascais over 3 months from now to change a freaking address. Anyone know of a simpler way? This is one of the things that happens, isn't it? You know, sometimes these administrative things can take quite a while. Both Mr. M and I, both Carl and I, had a bit of a shock today. The banks had asked us for a little bit of extra information. I don't know if maybe something had changed in the bank and they just like needed an extra check, and neither of us saw the message come in, and so all of a sudden we were like, oh my God, where's our online banking gone? And so we've had to go in, and it, like Carl says, it's like a 3-trip rule of thumb. You know, the first one you go in thinking you've got everything, just to find out you haven't, and you come back, and so on and so forth. But he's expecting it to be done in 3. I'm hoping it's done in 2. We're going in on Monday anyway. T Duck is saying it feels great to come home to a tidy space. Oh yeah, in reference to what you do when you go on holiday. I think it's really important. Sarah Yerman is saying yay to James, obviously because you're getting to the end of that change of address. T Duck is saying, how did you do it, James? We're starting our move on Monday. And T Duck is saying Cascais is a short drive from us. Do you know what? I really like Cascais. I haven't been there this year. I'd really like to go back. It's a great place to hang out. T Duck is saying walking is the key. We walk a lot and love it. And I guess you've got some really cool places to walk around in both Lisbon and Caldas. I think that's fantastic. Walking is great. James is saying it's a link to AIMA that gives you a form to fill out. It doesn't allow for a specific request, and the appointment is assigned. So I'm not even sure that the appointment is to change my address. The language in the email emphasizes receiving and renewing residency. Oh, that sounds difficult. I'd like to get that link. Does Carl have it? I'll ask Carl if you message him as well, T Duck, that will help. James is saying the channel, an old guy in Europe, is rolling along quite nicely. Thank you, Louisa. Coming up to the 1-year anniversary in June. That has gone so fast. I can't believe that. Congratulations. Family Munson, that's Carl and our eldest son, are saying hola from Lourdes, bon dia. So that's good to know they've arrived in Lisbon comfortably. T Duck is saying it did not appear in the comments between us. I think this is a little bit of you know, sometimes I don't think YouTube puts links up. It's kind of hit and miss. One bag and a passport is saying I can only I think only Mrs. M can post the links as she's the moderator of the chat. Okay, thank you. If I see the link, I'll put it in. Simply Live is saying, yes, it's the one Carl posted a few weeks ago. Hugh is saying, good morning. It's almost afternoon now, it feels like. I've been doing this for a while, but hi, Hugh. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so here is what looks like the address. Contact Nos, and he's put in a little space, but it's contact. So it's CONTACTENOS. So that's like contact with an E on, and then Nos, like for us, NOS, and that's all one word. Dot, I don't know if you say point or dot AIMA, so that's AIMA dot gov, GOV dot PT for Portugal / contact -form. So I'll see if I can also put that in. Don't know if I can. It's not letting me at the moment, but maybe I'll do it at the end. I put a space in between every word. Thank you so much for that, James. And it went through. That's great. Everyone's thanking you. Sarah is saying, in America, all the programs that help people buy houses died with Reagan. We bought our first house in the spring of 1980, just pre-Reagan, with government help. The market alone, without government, does this. We've got Joao saying, Bom Dia Portugal. So that link, T-Duck is saying it's the same link. I went through it all the way, uploaded 3 documents, and then it said my name doesn't match the residency card. Oh, that's so frustrating, isn't it? Joao Denort is saying it's wee o'clock here in Minnesota. Oh, you went back, and all is well. We are here with family for a little over 2 months. Spring in Minnesota still looks a lot like winter. Oh my goodness, you have to send photos, but I hope you're having a nice time. James is saying, I had to fill out the form 6 times to finally get it right. For me, the name, I used my middle initial and then discovered that on my card, it was my full middle name. Oh, it's so frustrating. Oh my goodness. There's a lot of chat around here. Last couple of comments. Simply like Mel from Simply Live was saying, my appointment is in July in Stubal when I live near Obidosh. Insane. Yeah, that's a bit of a trek. And T Duck is saying, woohoo, I just got it to work for Mrs. Duck also. So it looks like there is a happy ending and that there are some movements going on. I really do like the movement of Carl's conversation, to think about, what we need from, not just arriving here and finding our home and getting sorted and making friends and things, but like the longer conversation. And I think with Coach T, I think that conversation is going to continue. I really think he's going to add quite a few things in on fitness, but also like the well-being, like the mental well-being, like what he was talking about, to feel like you live somewhere, how can we feel like that? And obviously Astrid at Expats Portugal, and in fact the whole Expats Portugal team with Jerry and also Sarah and whoever else is involved in that, I just think they are also looking at the long-term enjoyment, that feeling of living somewhere. So yeah, keep thinking about what works for you. Let Carl know if there's something you want to talk about. I know he's going to be opening up this conversation far and wide. So anyway, I hope you all have a beautiful Easter weekend, however the weather presents itself, but have a fantastic time and catch up with you again real soon. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for all your comments and love. And yeah, we'll catch you soon. Bye for now. Mwah.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to